you can use right here. Click.
Right.
There you go.
Right.
And you can open the manage participants to make sure they can talk if that's what they choose. They don't see that participants box.
But I can't see good. It's on the wrong page. I can't grab it. See what's happening there?
Yes, I do see what's happening. I can't fix that for you. That's a Zoom thing.
Bring that to the front. It's in here. That's where it is. Yep, that's where it is.
Okay.
All right, so they're seeing
Zoom window is
this.
over. Yes.
I'm seeing that.
Mhm.
And if I don't share, so stop sharing,
Right.
they're seeing this.
Correct.
God, that's a rough picture.
What's the makeup on?
Huh?
What's the makeup on?
I don't have any.
I don't either. Can't help you there.
I don't want to. I want to look at this here. So swap the screens.
I don't know where your menu went.
Huh?
I don't know where your menu went.
Me neither. It's got to be down
Click
here.
somewhere. Click in the black. I'm just looking for a way to activate the menu for you.
Yeah, that's what I'm looking
What, you got to click somewhere.
for. Oh. Nope.
Not
that's
roll.
it.
Click.
That's
Okay,
not
you did. You have a quiet clicker.
Click, click, click. There we go.
That's for that. I was looking for the
That's
Zoom
the
window.
PowerPoint. There's a Zoom window.
Nope, that's not the Zoom window.
Nope.
No, Zoom opens up completely off of your, it opens in an app. So come back down here.
Okay.
That's your Zoom window.
That's my Zoom
There
window.
you go.
Okay. So we want to.
Got 3 people who have joined
I know.
already. Got it.
I'm so special. Reggie.
All right, I'm gonna get out of here.
Yeah, do that. See you in a bit. All right, so all I got to do is share this and they're on that. All right. Test 1 2 1 2. They got me there. They got me here. Time is 10:53. All right. Ba-da-ba-da-ba-ba-ba. Do-do-do-do. Reggie, you awake? Reggie. Can you hear me, Reg? Hey, Reggie, what's going on? Reggie. Hunter, can you hear me? Hunter. Reggie, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Good deal. How you been, man?
Good. How about you, sir?
Doing pretty well. Pretty well. Just waiting for a few more people to join up here. Got a couple of minutes. Morning, Beth. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Gonna wait on a few more people coming in. Okay, we're just waiting on a few more people to come on in.
Hello, this is Derek.
Hey, Derek, I got you.
Hi, how are you, Julius?
I'm doing well.
I was calling about so what I was doing was I was just calling to see if you or anybody that you knew family you work with.
You're awful low, Derek. I can barely hear you. Beth, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Okay, I got you. David, how you doing?
What's up, Greg?
Doing good, man. Doing good. All right, Reggie
Good to see you.
Good to see you. Waiting on a couple more that said they were going to respond. So sorry about the frog in my throat. If you don't want to be on video, you just take a piece of tape, put it over the top, hang a piece of paper in front of you, in case you don't want to see your fingerprint too. All right. Give it about one more minute. We're going to start.
I'm grabbing a coffee.
We'll get a cup of coffee.
In the work forms.
Got to get some makeup, man. My face is all red. Oh, that veinness
Makeup.
in me. There you go. Everybody ready for a big weekend?
Yeah.
Good. All right, Reggie, we're waiting on Dave to get his coffee. We're all set.
Okay.
Everybody else can hang out and come in later. Did everybody see that screen? 2007 was the beginning of the end?
Say it again.
Shared? Can
All
you
I see is
the-
a blank screen.
All you've seen is a blank screen.
Yeah.
That's right. Okay. What about now?
Yes, I see it now.
Yeah.
Okay. So this week we're talking about short sales, and everybody other than Hunter, who's out there somewhere, probably has not experienced a whole bunch of short sales. Now, what I found over the last month and a half, 2 months, a couple things are happening in the market. Number one, over the last year, REOs, real estate owned or foreclosure properties, lender owned, bank owned, whatever you want to call them, have increased by 17.3%. They are not 17.3% of the market. They only have increased 17.3. They're still sitting around 2% of the market, what's happening in the market today. But they are increasing, which is kind of troubling. It's the beginning of the end. I think I've seen a few things in the last 6 months with either deals falling apart, buyers backing out, sellers backing out, and all of a sudden short sales becoming much more prevalent amongst the general population, actually. In the last 2 months, for a word I hadn't heard in 5 years, short sale, I've probably heard it at least twice a week. And my team is actually in 2 of them right now. And I know I've helped at least 4 or 5 other agents in the last 3 weeks where it concerns short sales. So this whole program today is about short sales. It's the tip of the iceberg. We're going to have about a 5-minute presentation, and then we'll discuss it afterwards, and I'll answer any questions I can. And hopefully, if you've got any background in short sales, please feel free to bring it. Okay. Let me jump in there and admit this person. I don't know where that went to. Sorry, Dave. Trying to bring somebody in here. All right, 2007 was the beginning of the end. You may be wondering a little about how I came to be here with you today. Well, let me tell you a quick story about the real estate market in 2007 and how it was beginning to fall apart. At the time, I was still new to the business, and I was trying to grow my real estate business. I was struggling with keeping up with all the business I had, and the market was booming. I was getting more and more frustrated that I couldn't keep up with the demand. Houses were flying off the market. Then something really bad happened. Deals started falling apart, and buyers started to walk away from contracts, which meant I was having a hard time closing more deals. As you can imagine, I was in bad shape and desperate, but I wasn't ready to give up on my dream of being successful in real estate. So I discovered what was happening was people couldn't afford to move, but still needed to sell their homes. That's when I learned the words short sale. At that point, everything changed. I finally figured out how to help people sell their homes for less than what they were owed on their mortgage, negotiate with the lenders and HOAs to help my clients get the best terms, and find the people who needed me the most. What wound up happening was I became one of the local real estate market leaders in distressed property sales. I started getting my time back to do the things I enjoyed doing, listing homes. And I helped families get out of a negative situation and move on with their lives. Now I'm living my dream of being successful in real estate, and I'll never have to worry about losing sales in a down market again. And that's why I'm so passionate. I'm going to share with you Fridays with Flanagan so you can experience being successful too. Here's some definitions that you need to know with short sales. A short sale is when a mortgage property is selling for less than what is owed on the property. A deficiency is what's left over after the sale. A waived deficiency is the seller doesn't have to pay the difference in the sale price to what is owed. Deficiency granted. The seller must pay the difference between what the home sold for and the balance, plus the fees, attorney fees, that is owed. List pendants, lawsuit pending, first filing with the county court. Those are the basic definitions that you need to know. Some of the tips for listing a short sale are locating the prospects. First place you want to locate them, the county circuit court website. Look for the list pendants. So what you do is you go on to either Berkeley, Dorchester, or Charleston County. You look for the circuit court. You go onto the circuit court, and there's a grid pad. You got to agree, but there's a grid pad. You're typing the person's last name, and it's going to come up with everything that's pending against them. And you're looking for a list pendants. By that time, it's usually in foreclosure. Is that screen, is this overlooking the screen, David? What does my screen look like?
What's up?
Can you see my full screen, or you see that I'm waiting to bring somebody in?
Yeah, I mean, I see it's like the tips for listening to short sales on this half.
Okay, that's good. All right, mail campaign. Get yourself 4 good letters saying, "Hi, I'm David. I can help you with your problem." Second one should say, "Hi, I'm David. I'm still here. How can I help you with your problem?" And the third one and the fourth one, keep nurturing those people and then go out and knock on their door. All right, they're going to be around for a month. They have a mindset of, I can get out of this. I can make all my money back. The mindset of these people are the same as what got them into the problem of either not paying their mortgage or getting too much debt to where they have to move and cash everything out. So you door knock them. You research other places to find them is you research long days on market of expired properties. All right. What are we looking for there? We're looking for people that are overpriced, denying the fact that they have to sell their house or they're going to go broke. And it takes a long time for them to realize that problem. So if you see multiple expireds, multiple canceleds, pricing too high, the conversation is about the pain of the short sale. Folks, you're going to have to do this. And you got to provide a solution to the seller. How am I going to help you? What are the tactics that I'm going to do to help you with your solution? And we'll discuss that at length. And the last one is how to handle buyers in a short sale. The expectation conversation, you do this right from the get-go if your buyer's coming in wanting to talk about foreclosures or short sales. You know, there are great deals out there, but not every deal is great. To close a short sale, it's going to be 60 to 90 days closing period, simply because they have to go out, the deal goes into the seller has to agree with the price. The deal goes to the lender. The lender's going to send out and do a BPO on the house. They got, 30 days to do that. Then they got 30 days to actually approve and negotiate. And by the time you're done, you're probably running 60 to 90 days on a closing. So your buyers have to have that expectation. Your average list price, the sale price in this market, may be higher than they think. It used to be when short sales first started back in 7 and 8, you could buy for 60 cents on a dollar, 75 cents on a dollar. Nowadays, you might be at 90 to 93% on the dollar. As it becomes more prevalent, which I think it's going to be, I think those percentages are going to get wider, probably down to 80, 85. Our market's too healthy for a 60%. So that's your average list price to sale price. Inspections are for the buyers to know what they are buying. Don't expect repair concessions. Normally you do this under a due diligence, with a longer due diligence. Get in there, look at the house. If your buyers are comfortable with the due diligence and the inspection, just let it go on to the next step. Get it done. You can ask for the repairs. You don't see them coming because, number one, the guy is already short on his sale. He has no money to repair it. All right, and the banks are going to say, no, you either buy it the way it is or not. So your major deficiencies, whether it's structural roofs and that kind of thing, you're going to have to assume that liability. So do your due diligence. This is a great time not to do a repair addendum. It is a due diligence type situation. And the next one down is the short sale addendum. Actually saves you to say, hey, if we wait too long, the buyer has the opportunity to jump out of this sale. Okay, we don't want that sale going on. We're going to find something else. Again, you're protecting your buyer during this section. Don't put a lot of money down on your earnest money. There's no reason for you to, put $500 down. Really not going to matter. If they ask you for more, stick with your guns. Be strong. And just say, no, $500 is all I'm willing to put down at this time. The lender will make the final decision, and this is really crucial. I just had one where the house was on the market for 589 days. And when I called the agent up, he was a newer agent, less than 2 years on the job. I said, have they waived the deficiency? And he said, what? What is that? Tells me, number one, he didn't understand what was going on. Number two, he said he had a low ball offer. Well, what the agent didn't understand was any offer in a short sale is a good offer because the final verdict is going to come with the lender. All we want to do is to slow down the foreclosure and get the lender's attention. So this guy refused different offers going into the sale. That's why it took him 589 days to get an offer. I educated him a little bit. I educated his seller by writing a letter and saying, hey, accept this offer. It will slow down your foreclosure, and the bank is going to make the final decision. So, you might have to educate the other side of your deal as you're going through these. Okay. Last thing is the lenders have guidelines on what is allowed and not allowed to be written off. I think Beth, one of my team members there, she's on the line. We had the VA. The VA will not let you write off a warranty. The VA will not let you absorb other costs. So the buyer has to absorb those costs. and your buyer has to understand that they might be getting a great deal, but they are going to have to absorb some of the costs that are usually picked up by these sellers. Okay, I'm going to stop the share right now, just so I get back into this and bring in other people. All right. Hi, Eileen. I'm sorry we missed you there, but you're on now.
Hey, Greg, I got a quick question.
Go ahead, David. I'm answering questions now, so go ahead.
All right, cool. So you said you wrote a letter to the seller to help educate them, which is really interesting. You know, even if you're reaching out to the other side to help the other guy's client, I mean, obviously, I don't think the seller agent would have an issue with that. But I mean, if they wanted to like make a stink about it, could they?
No, because what it was you could put anything in the offer as long as you reference it in an addendum or something of that sort that says these are, you know, on section 27 or what it is in the contract, it says addendum 1, cover letter. Okay, that's a letter so that you can talk directly to the seller. So when he presents it to the seller, here's 15 pieces of paper. I want to make sure all 15 pieces of paper are initialed when I get back the ratified contract. If I don't get that cover letter back, it's not a ratified contract.
So the letter you wrote was in the form of an addendum that they had to sign acknowledging they read it.
Correct.
Okay, cool.
Okay, so anytime you want to talk to a seller directly, just use that tactic to go forward and put it in a letter. So what's more important, the buyer side, or what do you want to talk about, the buyer side or the listing side? Anybody got anything going on now?
Well, I was thinking about putting in an offer.
Okay.
And I know that, just like you said, the waiting period, you know, can be anywhere from 2 to 3 months. I guess what I was trying to see is what could I really expect for as a price reduction. And you mentioned that in this market now, probably the most is probably about 90% of what's owed.
I mean, I would go in as low as I could, Reggie.
Uh-huh.
I would go in whatever you feel. You got to take a fair market value. Okay, fair market value. Do a good adjustment for deficiencies because you're not going to get any kind of help on the repair side of it.
Right.
And you should be able to do that just by a simple walkthrough. You agree with me there? You agree,
Yes,
right?
Yes.
And then do a CMA, back it out, and then take 90% of that, 85%, wherever you feel comfortable. You know, I would look at other short sale properties that have gone on the market in the last, and that's just this MLS search, the last 90 days. What was their sale price to list price? Use the market monitor. You familiar with market monitor on our MLS?
Yes, sir.
Right, the big 10K, and go into your area and just chop down into that short sale. It'll say distressed properties, you know, and see what they're selling for off of list. Yeah, I wouldn't be embarrassed. It's a good time not to be embarrassed about dropping a low ball offer. Expect the bank to come back probably at 90 to 95. Don't you start at 90, but expect the bank to come back at that. Start wherever you want to start.
Thank you.
What's up, Derek?
What's going on, Greg?
Nothing. You popped up on my screen. You coughing? What else we got? Reggie, did I answer the question?
Yes, sir. Fully. I appreciate it.
Great. Let me know if you need help with that. I'll be happy to help. Just reach out to me.
Okay. Well, let me ask this then. I was thinking about using, I can't remember the lady's name, but I think she works for Weeks in Irvine.
Okay. Tommy Dinkins. Tommy Dinkins.
Miss
Go
Jenkins.
ahead.
Yeah,
Jenkins.
I was about ready to ask you, do you use any specific negotiators? Or yeah, I guess, do you use any specific negotiators, or how do you actually interview a negotiator on either the buyer or the seller's behalf?
My go-to person is Tommy Dinkins. Okay, I've known Tommy for 14 years. I actually knew her before she went to work for short sales. And she is probably the top person. Most attorneys' offices have somebody that works them as a second job. That's all Tommy does with Weeks, is she does short sales. She's very, very proficient at it. She understands the difference. She understands, she can answer your questions. You know, the VA wants this, FHA wants this, Wells Fargo wants this, you know, and she can quickly get everything together. As a matter of fact, in the last couple of days, because we have a buyer on this, I actually sent my deal directly to Tommy and went above the lender's, the seller's agent's head, because she needed to do that. I needed to do that to ensure that Tommy had the full package the way it should have been had, which she did. So yeah, Tommy Dinkins with Weeks and Irvine. Normally, if I go with a short sale, I let Weeks and Irvine close it because it's just part of the deal. Part of the deal.
Yeah, of course. Okay.
Okay, here's another thing. If you're going to list a house, this just popped up in my mind. If you're going to list a short sale, list that short sale at 6%. Get as much as you can. The banks are accustomed to paying 3 and 3. All right? The banks are accustomed to paying 3 and 3. The only time you would reduce it if the guy is in foreclosure and there's a deficiency. I wouldn't even do it then. I'd still go with 3 and 3. I'd still go with 3 and 3. Okay, the banks will pay you 3%, and then they'll pay Weeks and Irvine. They'll pay the attorneys. They'll pay the short sale negotiator, all that good stuff. So make sure you're listening and getting full price, because it's a lot of work. It's a lot of work. Yeah. Has anybody got a listing coming up that they are looking for?
I've had a couple pre-foreclosures, but I haven't had anything that they're gonna need the short sale concept. Do you think that that's something that's, like, I guess you're saying it's going to be more prevalent here in the near future? How soon in the future do you see that these short sales are going to be?
You know, if I had a crystal ball, I'd be a millionaire. If I had that crystal ball, all I could tell you is I'm going back to 2007. Okay, and what started happening actually in 2006, December 15, 2006, I went in and actually closing on my own personal house. As I was going in there, I had about 4 deals pending. And by the time I got out of the attorney's office, I was down to 1. And it was like somebody started, and that was a full 2 years, 20 months before the market actually crashed. It was, you look back now, it's like the harbinger of what was to come. And as I learned more about it, it was already happening in California. So I'm being a little bit bearish here and saying, hey, we're starting to see more short sales. That means there's something trending. We're starting to see the REO package pick up. You talk to guys like Brian Madansky and Lisa Richard Hernandez, and their REO businesses are starting to take steam. Back in the 2008 period, I did broker price opinions, second opinions for lenders, and we were doing about 300 a year. All right, and I'm still on those lists, and those lists started cranking up in the last 6 months. You know, I hadn't heard anything from them in 4.5 years, and all of a sudden, hey, here's a BPO, here's a BPO, here's a BPO at $35 a shot. I'm not going to do them this year. So there's a lot of things that are just foretelling that this might be our future. It will not be as bad as it used to be. We're definitely not going to lose 30% of value or 30% of the market. But down in 2008, we had 10,000 homes on the market, 11,000 homes. And since that time, I think we dipped to the lowest in about 4,500 to 4,200. And since that time, we've been running at this 5,000 to 5,500 properties on the market. And 1,100 of those, so let's dissect that a little bit. 1,100 of those properties that are on the market today are brand new sales. So the inventory for new homes is up. They're starting to offer a lot of money for you to close their house, right? Last month it was what, an extra 10 grand to close a $300,000 house?
$1,000.
That's extraordinary. Right. So what's that telling you?
They need us.
Yeah, the inventory's up. Buyers are down, inventory's up. Drag somebody in there with a broken leg, can't see, and have them sign a piece of paper for the extra 10 grand. It's 19 grand on a $300,000 house. That's extraordinary. And that's what was happening, 10 years ago, 11 years ago, was we were getting paid that kind of money. They're also doing more casino nights and, trying to drag us out. So when they start spending money on real estate agents, they got inventory on the shelves. Otherwise, they don't want to hear from us. What else you got?
Well, okay, I'll just bring this up real quick. This is all relatively new for me, Greg. I've never done a short sale, which is why I wanted to be part of this, and thanks for doing it. So if I understand correctly, in this scenario, the seller will not really be making any money. They're just trying to get out of a foreclosure situation. They'll probably be paying some money for the fees and everything, but more often than not, a short sale never really nets the seller any profit. They're usually paying, right? Is that
correct? It's short. It's short. So let's talk about deficiency. Let's talk about deficiencies. The bank is ready to lose money. The bank will lose 10, 15%. So if the guy owes
Did we lose you, Greg?
I don't know where he went.
Uh-oh. I'll text him.
Okay.
I hope the internet over at West Ashley is better than Mount Pleasant.
Yes, it is. Not by much.
Not yesterday, it wasn't.
Yeah, yesterday was out, right?
Yeah, we were down and out for a couple hours over here.
Yeah.
Working from home is all right.
Yeah. I like it. Just texted him.
Can you hear us?
Hi, Eileen.
Hi, Beth. Can you hear me?
Yes,
Okay.
but we
I've
lost
never
Greg.
I know it would froze, but I've not done one of these calls before, so I didn't know.
there we go. I'm here. I'm
There
here.
you are.
I
There
don't
he
know what
is.
happened there. It just kind of went, see you later. See you later. All right.
You were saying 10 to 15%, and then you disappeared.
Then I disappeared? Okay. So deficiency waived. On the list pendants, it says foreclosure deficiency waived. That means that whatever they sell the house for, the seller is not going to get charged any more money. They'll be able to walk away scot-free, hand over the keys, and say goodbye. If it says deficiency granted, that means that the borrower has to pay the difference. And normally what happens there, if the guy's really in bad shape, is they agree to that, we sell the house, and the borrower bankrupts. Because at that point, once you sell the house, that's an unsecured loan. The lender may, nowadays, put in an agreement to sell the house, and no matter what happens, the borrower owes them the money. So they might secure it on some kind of a legal operation. But normally, the next step after a foreclosure to get rid of that deficiency is a bankruptcy. Okay.
What about the taxes?
Excuse me?
What about the taxes?
Everything will be cured at the foreclosure. It will be cured at the foreclosure. If
Would
it's
file
secured
like-
by the home, okay, the lender will pay the back taxes, will pay the HOA fees, will pay up to, I think it's 6% of the second mortgage. Okay, they'll pay up to 6% of the second mortgage, and then the rest of that mortgage, the second mortgage will agree to it, and they'll waive the deficiency off of that. So yeah, it's pretty much cures the entire thing, Rich.
If the buyer declares bankruptcy, so they don't have to pay the difference to the bank after they close on the house, does that not affect their credit or their ability to purchase or take a loan in the future? To some
Definitely applies to their credit. Both of these things apply to their credit. They are both derogatory. The one thing you're going to find is, number one, if the guy's short selling the house and he hasn't made a payment in 6 months, his credit's already shot. He's got 24 months to clean that up. With a short sale, the derogatory, if he sells the house, normally it shows up as paid as agreed. And after 24 months, you can get back in the market. Okay, so you have a good job, you just overspent, you learned your lesson, you got your hands slapped, you paid off all your credit cards, and you've short sold your house. You usually have two years of derogatory credit there. If you foreclose, you have 7 years of derogatory information. Okay, so the short sale benefits the seller in that for the short term he gets beat up, but for the long term, it will still show up. It will still show up. Now, something I've learned over the years is that if you short sale, you're in foreclosure and you've got that foreclosure notice. If you short sale, that foreclosure notice is just a lawsuit against you. It's not a foreclosure. Not until you actually default and the bank sells it at auction are you foreclosed. It's just a lawsuit for foreclosure. Everybody understand that?
Mhm.
What happens with who can sue you? Who could sue? I want to sue you, Reggie. I don't like your bald head.
What?
Yeah, same right here. I'm going to sue you because you're impersonating me. Anybody can sue anybody.
Right.
And all the bank is doing is suing you. They're not winning. So at the end of the day, you don't have a foreclosure on your record. You have a paid as agreed on your record. You see what I'm saying?
Yes, I understand.
So that's the benefit to your client is that, hey, you're going to save on the other side of this deal. Everybody understand?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. What else? What about managing expectations? Anybody got any questions about managing the expectations?
I think probably the tough part would be for us the buyer waiting that period of time because a bunch of things comes on the market and if they have some slight impatience, then they see something that's more suited for them, then they still stuck with the contract.
Great question. Thanks. Yeah, Reggie, I mean, you've got to do a real hard expectation conversation with your buyer at the beginning. Okay. I think it comes down to how much do you want this house, Mr. and Mrs. Seller. If they're investors just looking to bounce around on you, I don't have the patience for that. I have the patience to make sure that you understand it's going to be 60 to 90 days to get this thing sold, to get this thing closed. Are you comfortable with that, Mr. Buyer?
Yes.
Yes. And do you understand that after 60 days, this whole deal might fall apart, Mr. Buyer?
Yes. Now that's going to be the big pill to swallow right there.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah, but if you're under due diligence and they're also only putting 500 in earnest money, it's probably a lot easier to walk away, right?
Well, you're going to get your with the zip form short sale addendum, and I want you to go in and look at that today. With that addendum, it pretty much allows you to walk away. It allows you to walk away at certain times of the deal, and the first 30 days are real crucial to stay in it. You're going to know whether they go through it or not. You know, I can tell war stories of 145 pieces of paper going through a fax machine, timing out. Nowadays, it's real simple. They put the offer in, they do the BPO, they come back with a counter offer. You know, you're not going to get a counter offer for probably 14 days from the bank. You'll be real lucky. You'll be real lucky if you got the bank to say. Actually, my first short sale was probably the easiest one I ever did. Wells Fargo, Heritage Apartments down in Mount Pleasant, and I called Wells Fargo and I said I got a short sale. They go, okay, and we were closed in 30 days. Boom, out the door. That's the last easiest one I ever had. So yeah, you've got to do a good expectation conversation with your buyers.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Actually, now that you brought that up. So if the bank's counteroffer comes in about 2 weeks later, then when is the right time to do the, if you're not doing due diligence, if you're going to do a repair request, when do you do the inspection? Is it, I mean, I know I wrote in this contract just the regular 10 days. So, I mean, this one, I guess I'll have to be that, but would it be better to do after the lender approval?
I think what you're going to find there, Beth, is that that inspection is going to be for your buyer only. They're not going to take a repair request. More than likely, they're not going to take a repair request. The bank is already losing money, and they don't want to lose any more money. Now, if it's something serious, a serious defect, they may take it. But when you're dealing with a short sale, I would go in with the expectation that nobody's going to do anything for you.
Right.
Did that answer the question?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. When do you do it? I'd get it out of the way. I mean, unless you're, yeah, I'm trying to remember that deal, and it's. You know,
Yeah, that one happens to be in good shape, you know,
Okay.
which is good.
Okay.
Hopefully it's not much.
Yeah.
So let me ask you about the fallout. Would it be just usually a disagreement in price, or is there anything else that would cause a fallout?
There's all kinds of things like anything else, Reg, that would cause a fallout. I think a lot of the fallouts that I've seen over the years come with patience of the buyer.
Mm-hmm.
The patience of the buyer. You really have to have a buyer that's committed to the sale, okay, and understands that everything is at risk every day. The bank will give you a number. The bank will give you that number within 14 to 30 days. They'll come back and say, we want X. And there's your first obstacle. There's not a lot, unless you have a real strong case, BPO, broker price opinion, CMA, that goes down and picks the house apart bit by bit, amenity by amenity, to where you can counter offer the bank. You can still counter offer the bank. There's no problem. You just have to have a very strong case. You got to build that case against that house. And I apologize to the buyers usually. I say, listen, I'm going to rip your house apart. It's a great house, but what you're going to see here is I'm going to rip it apart. And it's going to look like it's the worst thing in the world. That's what we want the bank to see. The bank has to see that house as, oh my God, we don't want that thing. It's going to cost us millions. See what I'm saying, Reg?
Yes, sir.
So it might be a great house. The fallout itself normally occurs in the negotiation and the length of time it takes to clear the title with the bank.
Okay. Thank you.
Good question. What do you got going on there, David? You got a deal going on now, or you waiting to listen?
Oh, I got a few things brewing, nothing of this nature. I was kind of thinking about like, well, a couple of things. First, like appraisals. I mean, I'm sure that when that comes up, that would probably be a good way to get the price lowered if it comes in a lot lower than what the bank wanted originally, right? But
That's one way. What if it comes in higher than what you offered?
well, then that's the other issue.
That's why you have to beat up the house. You have to be stronger than an appraiser.
So I was thinking, like, Greg, how many times have you come up where your buyer, the lender for the buyer was the same bank, which is now owning the foreclosure for the property?
Has nothing to do with it. They're two separate departments within a bank. One hand doesn't know what the other hand's doing.
Wow.
Unless it's a local bank that has a portfolio loan, meaning they own the loan in-house, where they're going to make the decision, you know, which there are very, very few around here anymore. The guys who bought out Tidelands, you know, they're one of the few. Are you running into that?
I was just wondering, like, I was thinking, like, would it be easier maybe to like get the deal done if the lender was the same bank that's in charge of the foreclosure? But
I don't think I remember ever. I don't think I ever remember having a.
I mean, the bank's paying themselves in a way.
Yeah, but they're again. They one hand doesn't know what the other hand's doing.
Yeah.
You know, it's really crazy. People are getting letters, even though they're in with a short sale, they still get the foreclosure letters. Because until somebody says, "Hey, we stopped that foreclosure," the foreclosure department has to continue. So they keep their guidelines, keep within their parameters of, you know, you got 30 days to do this, 30 days to do that.
Yeah. Okay.
How long does it usually take to close a foreclosure in this market? Anybody know?
Well, I think, was it 6 months for as I guess from the time they start the suit until you get to court?
Yep. At least, as long as, you know, here are some of the strategies that I've used over the years. When somebody calls me and says, "Hey, we got to sell our house, you know, we're behind on our payments, or we have, you know, they told us we're going to go into foreclosure." The first thing I advise my clients to do is get an attorney or answer pro se. Pro se means I do it myself, right? When they send that notice of deficiency, NOD we call it, notice of default, when they send that, the client, the seller has to answer that letter and say, "I don't agree with any of this." Okay? We're not attorneys. We can't tell them what to do. What we can do is say, get representation. Probably going to cost them $3,500, but somebody's going to be there to answer the letter. What that does is it stalls the foreclosure, gives you time to market the house, get it under contract, and do all the rest of the things. Every time that, so you get the notice of default, that means you're already 3 months behind on your payment. Okay, the first thing you want to, if they are serious about short selling, stop making payments. If you're 3 months behind and you're not going to keep the house, stop making payments. It's not going to help you. It's not going to help you. So the notice of default comes in, answer the notice of default on the 28th day, because they give you 30 days to answer, right? That's the way they normally work. When you're going back and forth and you're noticing people back and forth, it's a 30-day window. So on the 25th day, you answer the notice, which gives you another 30 days, because they're going to answer the notice in that 30-day period. You just upset their daisy chain, because nobody answers that notice. When you answer the notice, they go, oh, good Lord, this guy's going to fight us. Now they've got to go back, and so you could drag that out 9 months before you get in front of a judge, before they actually issue foreclosure on you. You can negotiate with the bank. You can get the approval for the short sale. Once you have clients that they know that they're going to short sale, get them to answer the notice of default, answer any letters that come in. Make sure you or their attorney have that information, and just keep putting up that roadblock. And while they're doing that, you're going to make a left-hand turn and have them ask the bank for an approved short sale. Okay? If you have an approved short sale, now you know what you have to get for that property. You've done all the negotiating beforehand. You're not waiting for somebody to give you an offer. You can market it as, we have an approved short sale at this point, at this amount of money. That saves all the stuff. Everybody understand that part?
Yes. Sir.
Yeah. So,
Yeah,
Greg,
before, yeah.
go ahead.
Go ahead, Dave.
So with the bank coming up with a number, I think you said like these days you could get around 95%. It could go down to 70. Does it just depend on the market climate, like how low the bank's willing to go against what is actually owed?
Yeah, if you have an approved short sale, it's all going to depend on the bank. They're going to get an appraisal. They're going to get a BPO. They're going to get a second BPO. They're going to take what you as a listing agent gave them. And again, you've got to beat the heck out. You got to beat the house up. You've got to beat the house up. Case in point, this one we're doing right now, it's, the pool is green. Well, let me ask you a question. How much does it cost to get that pool blue again? I don't know. I think it's $8,000 because I don't know if the pump works. I don't know if there's any cracks in the pump. So that's the mentality you go in with. It's got a pool, yeah, which is worth 50 grand, okay, but I'm going to spend eight grand just getting it back up and going. I got to paint the entire house because it's been shut up for the last, 3 months. There's mold. Just keep beating up that house. You've got to give more information. You got to make it look like it really is something of trash. Answer the question, Dave?
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, all right. Anybody else? What's your biggest question? What's your biggest aha? How about ahas this late in the game? Keep track of my time.
I think for me, one of the ahas is the process. Far as start to finish. I think one of the biggest concerns for me would be convincing the seller, hey, it's time to face reality. And of course, I think I only ran into one lady, who says that she's going to just walk away. She's few and far between for people I come in contact with. That has that attitude. Everybody else saying, they're waiting on that miracle.
What miracle is that? That's the conversation. Right. And Reggie, that's the conversation. If you haven't read it yet, write this down. Fierce Conversations. Okay, hold on. Yes, I can't put my hands on it. I must have lent it out. Fierce Conversations. It's a book about how to have that conversation with your client, your spouse, your wife, your employee, anybody you need to talk to directly and on a very sensitive subject. I have found my personality is compassion, concern, and helpful. I empathize with you. But I can guide you to where you need to be. Be the guide for them and take them out of the darkness into the light, Reggie. That's where your mindset's got to be. Darkness to light. be a numbers person. You know, where is this going to get you? Talk about the 2 years versus the 7 years on the credit. Okay. Good aha.
Gotcha.
Anybody
Yeah.
else?
Now that was a big aha there too.
What's
in
that?
reference to the 2 years versus them taking the short sale versus 7 years as a foreclosure. I didn't know that it actually appears as paid on the credit. I had no idea. I just thought it would have just stamped something negative, more negative than as paid.
Right.
But then that's a big aha for me there too. Is that's a strong selling point that, hey, in case when you're ready to get back to the market again, then it'd be better for you to wait 2 years than to try to wait 7.
Sure. Exactly.
The older you are.
Okay. Anybody else?
Yeah, I like the when you want to communicate with the seller that you can write a letter and put it in an addendum.
That goes for any deal. That's any deal. A couple ways to get to sellers. How are they? Number one, through your feedback response.
Mm-hmm.
Great house, but I would love to give an offer, but right? Who are you talking to?
That's
I
a
don't
seller.
mind when somebody does that to my seller.
No, it actually can be good.
Exactly. I mean, hey, I would love to give you an offer, but I think the price is too high. So yeah, talk to them that way and talk to them through a letter. Anything you put in the contract, just make sure your people negotiate signature or initial, and you're good. All right.
Great.
Did you learn more than you knew before you came in?
Yeah, definitely.
Good, good.
Absolutely.
That's my goal, man. It's a big subject. It's a wide subject. A lot of variables in it. If you need help, drop me a line. I do coaching we're starting up a coaching business, and this is the pitch for that. It's Power Onward, and it's an affordable coaching program for real estate agents, usually start up to $5 million, and it helps them through situations, any kind of situation you want. It's $250 a month. You get 2 45-minute sessions with me, and I'm pretty much on call for you to help you through any kind of deals or anything like that. So if that makes sense to you, reach out to me. I'd be happy to talk further with you. And anybody got anything else? If not, we're gonna call it a day and have a great weekend.
Greg, just a quick follow-up to what Reggie was just talking about here.
Sure.
So the foreclosure, just to make sure I have this right, foreclosure will be 7 years on the credit, 2 years for the seller to sell a short sale, but I believe you also said it's 2 years on the buyer side for declaring bankruptcy after they go into the deal, assuming that they don't pay the difference to the
Negative.
Okay.
What it is that was a listing side, David. If there was a deficiency, the strategy normally is to sell the house short, and then if there's a couple $100,000 left, then the lender goes bankrupt to cure that. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
That clear that up?
Yeah.
All right, man. All right, anybody else? I want to thank you all for coming. Have a great weekend.
Thanks
Thanks,
for your
Greg.
time. Appreciate it.
Good.